Nobody would argue the importance of water to a community, especially in today's world where so many people struggle to access it. Ada is fortunate to have an extremely high-quality supply from the Arbuckle-Simpson Aquifer. For more than 100 years, the city of Ada has thrived on this pristine water. Up until very recently, however, aging infrastructure threatened to interrupt this precious supply.
When I first come here about 6 years ago, I was kind of shocked. It scared me because we supply about 70% of the county, and it has to be reliable. And it was in poor shape, so this is overdue, yeah.
The first penny for our city sales tax measure provided for a comprehensive study of the city's dilapidated water supply system, which means that infrastructure between the water's origin point at Birds Mill Spring and the pre-distribution destination point at the treatment plant. It is a combination of good original craftsmanship and pure luck that the water supply system never suffered a catastrophic failure.
There were sections of it we theorized were built in the late 20s, early 30s. We unearthed some wooden line that had originally been put in even prior to this line that we replaced from the 30s.
The engineering study revealed what city officials long suspected, that the primary 14-mile pipeline between the spring and plant was leaking profusely. Astonishing amounts of water were being lost between the spring south of Fittstown and the plant on Ada's south side. In addition, the treatment plant was sorely in need of modernization.
The contract was signed September of 2015, so the actual construction started shortly thereafter, and it's continuing to this day, and we're hoping to finish up in April.
In response to the study's findings, the City of Ada invested close to $21 million on the supply side of its water delivery system to ensure citizens have access to one of the region's top water supplies well into the future. The funds for the massive capital improvement project were obtained through the state's low-interest revolving fund, administered by the Oklahoma Water Resources Board and the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality.
We got a lab building behind me, and then over here to the west of me is the chemical feed buildings. Back over here to the east of me, we've got a new 2.5 million gallon clear well. They often refer to it as a reservoir, but I usually call it a clear well. And then we've got new piping. We're going to have a new header going in. The idea is we'll basically have a new plant.
Part of the modernization of the water plant, which is easily one of the most important facilities the city manages, is the introduction of advanced technology that will greatly improve monitoring and maintenance. This is crucial when you consider Ada's water must travel more than a dozen miles before it reaches town.
Also in this plant, the telemetry will talk to the wells in the spring to the south of us, because that's part of this project. We're going to have new well houses. We're going to have new well heads. We're going to have telemetry. We're going to be able to control the wells, control the spring from here, instead of having to drive, 30 minutes down there, turn on a well, drive 30 minutes back to the plant or to the city. So it's going to be a lot more efficient. It's going to be a lot more reliable.
This critical upgrade of the city's water supply system was divided into two contracts. One contract covered infrastructure at the wells, spring, and treatment plant. The other contract addressed the construction of a new 30-inch raw water line to traverse the 14 miles between the spring and the plant, replacing the original line built some 80 years ago. The new line has already made a huge difference.
It's in much better shape than it was because we theorized we were losing somewhere close to 1 million gallons a day along that 14-mile stretch. And since we've put this online, we've checked the gauging and the metering at the spring versus what's coming into town, and we're showing almost no loss.
Another critical improvement the study strongly suggested was the addition of 2 new wells, which would increase the city's pumping capabilities significantly. As Ada continues to grow, both in terms of population and economic activity, the need for potable water increases. While city leaders continue to work on obtaining more water rights over the aquifer, they must ensure they have the infrastructure in place to deliver that water to citizens.
To grow, you got to have water. So what we take into consideration Ada's growth, the county's growth to 2050. And because we want to have that infrastructure so we can grow and we can draw businesses to Pontotoc County.
As the project nears completion, Ada officials have their eyes on the distribution side, including the water towers and pipelines that bring water to every home and business inside the community, as well as those rural water customers who depend on the same water supply. It is imperative the City of Ada stays several steps ahead of growth and demand.
We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on that. They're about to finish up at the plant, which the new clear well is about to go online. In fact, it's got water in it at this point in time. The pipeline is done, with the exception of some cleanup and some tie-ins to the older line. So that project is nearing completion.
Everything I do, I look towards the future. Just about everything I do, whether it's roads, water, sewer, any of the infrastructure, I look towards the future. I don't want to paint ourselves into a corner, do something, and then a few years later you say, oh, well, we didn't think about this. Now we got to tear this out or we got to do something. Always I'm looking towards the future.